ziko chini, unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo, una mipango hata watoto wa kando, haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini, kisha wasema tukuthamini na wewe hapo hauaminiki. Na wewe hapo haupangiki. Nani atajibu haya maswali? Bado tuna IDPs, mbona hatusaidii? Damu ziliundwa na maji, bado hatupati. Mihadarati iko wapi pia madawati? Uko hayuko pia bio kama majamaa. Nani aliuza mau na wako wapi mau mau? Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Sheria. 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 Fuata. Sheria. 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 Fuata. Sheria. 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 Fuata. Sheria.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sheria Dive right here on Power Radio with me, WaNjeri. This is your favorite voice on Monday. I don't know what kind of a day you had, but your day begins now with me this evening. Now, remember, as always, I'd like to hear your thoughts. How was your day? Are you having a good day? We're officially in December, and some of you have already booked your leave days and you're ready to go. And of course, some of us are still having to go to work, and I don't know how that feels for you. So we have the YouTube live chat. Let us know your thoughts. Just reach out to us. Let us know how you're doing, what's going on, what song would you like to hear. But of course, we always start this show by looking at what is happening in Kenya. All right? Now, the government has banned several primary boarding schools. All right? And of course, you'll remember this is coming on the back of the Enda Russia tragedy. And the government has now decided that they're going to ban primary school boarding schools. And I'm looking at the standard on page 3. And there are some schools that are saying they were unfairly targeted in boarding closure order. I don't know how you guys feel about boarding schools for primary students. Personally, I don't support it. I feel like kids should only go to boarding school when they perhaps get to high school. Primary school, I think it's too young. I remember in Russia, some of those kids were in class 4, man. What are you doing in boarding school in class 4? Anyway, the government has also banned or declared or deregistered, perhaps the correct word is deregistered, several institutions that did not ensure that they were within the Public Benefits Act, Public Benefits Organizations Act. And I saw Johnson Sakaja Foundation was one of those. I don't know if you checked whether the organization is on that Gazette notice, because there were actually, I think, more than 200 organizations that have been deregistered because they did not ensure that they were now registered in line with the PBO Act. That's what has been happening. And of course, today, the long-awaited handshake between Mr. William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know how guys are reporting about this, because William Ruto went to see Uhuru Kenyatta in Gatondo, and they look like they're shaking hands. So is that the handshake? You know? Normally tumezoea handshake inakwanga hapo Harambee House. Hapo nje ya Harambee House. What does this mean? I think I've seen a lot of reactions from Gen Z's. Guys have said, these guys are together. And I'm wondering, are you just discovering this now? The elite are always the elite, and they're always together. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And of course, Raila Odinga is set to have an election sometime in February. And I think this will be the only election he wins since 2007, because since 2007, Raila has never won an election. Some of them, of course, we'll say have been stolen. Some have not been stolen and all that. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes for Raila Odinga as he seeks to be the chairperson of the Africa Union. Meanwhile, at the same time, Kizza Besigye, and we talked about this on this show a few weeks ago, comes to Kenya. He's arrested by Uganda police in Kenya, taken to court-martial in Uganda, and accused of committing crimes in Kenya. As in, let me tell you, it's like Kenya and Uganda, it's like we are one village. Anyway, Martha Karua decides she's going to Uganda to actually represent Mr. Besigye. She's denied the papers by the Uganda Law Society. And as a matter of fact, what happens is that the Uganda Law Society, the guys who are supposed to give her the certificate, they are at their own holiday. Can you believe this? They've gone on some like workshop or something. And so we have that drama happening all the way in Uganda where Martha Karua is representing Kizza Besigye. But then Kizza Besigye decides, I'm going to sue Kenya and Uganda at the East African Court of Justice for what happened to me. Tulambe glucose. Things are quickening. Things are happening very, very fast. But of course, remember as well, we've had the 16 days of activism. If you listen to this show on Saturday, we were at Tangaza University and we were just talking to people who are doing amazing things. I would really encourage you, please look for last week's show. It's still up on YouTube. Flozy, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So just listen to that. And we had some very interesting conversations with people who are making a difference in their communities. But of course, tomorrow is the last day of the 16 days of activism. And we have the Femicide march that will be happening in the Nairobi CBD and all over the country. And the question I'm asking us today, and especially this is directed, let's say to women, but also to all of us, do you feel like women are safe in this country? Even as we talk about the 16 days of ending, gender-based violence. The 16 days of activism, and we end up with the Femicide march. Are the laws of this country sufficient to protect women? You'll, of course, remember that Mr. Douglas Kanja, the Inspector General of Police, gave some damning report the other day. He said that over a period of 90 days, they had received 97 cases of women who had been killed. That means that every day a woman is dying in this country, at least based on those statistics. That's what we're going to be talking about today. What are some of the laws that are in place to actually protect women from gender-based violence and from being killed? All right? And are those laws actually being used? And as you think about that, put a pin on this. By the way, Cell. You remember the guy who got out of a police station that had so many cops there with guns, and he had, when they caught him, he had a lot of underwear and a very rusty machete. You remember that guy? And he was apparently was responsible for killing all the women who were found in the Kware Dam. Has he been found by the police? I'll tell you when we come back.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Run. Nawalenga, ndio maana usiku siku hizi nalala mapema. Hawataniteka, heri tu ninyonge na nilale juu sitakucheza. Nami nimekiri, yetu sio siri, ni wewe tu na mimi. Niamini, loving you is easy. Wacha wakupinga watupinge. Umenibeba, asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda. Umenibeba, asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda.
tu kusema nashangaa, si kawaida. Won't be quick to give my love if you won't either. Fever, umedeliver. Safari ya mapenzi haina kufika. Kiri nimekiri, loving you is easy. Wacha wakupinga watupinge.
Umenibeba, umenibeba, asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda. Umenibeba, umenibeba, asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda. Asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda. Umenibeba, umenibeba, asante kwa kunipenda hivi unavyonipenda.
Umenibeba. Flozi, who's that by? Flozi ameuliza swali manze. She's like, yeah? You've put me on the spot. That's by Watenda Willie, Umenibeba. Fantastic song. And of course, remember, we always say, if you hear a song here you've not heard before, we'll give you the name of the artist. Please go follow them on the socials. And, even as you follow them, find out it's gig season. So find out if you can attend any of their gigs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like this year has actually been 5 years rolled into one. It's like COVID Nyorosha does in 2020, and then 2024 started with a June protest. Then kidogo, we find out people have been thrown into a quarry dam. And this it was actually a quarry. And this quarry is right next to a police station. And people have been dumping bodies in that place. So anyway, bodies are recovered from the place, and the police say we've launched investigations into this matter. And of course, they do go and launch the investigations, and they decide that they have a suspect named Collins Jumaisi. Collins Jumaisi is brought, and they parade some of his tools of trade or what he was using. I remember there were many ngodas that were there. There were many underpants that were paraded, if you remember that press conference. And of course, a very rusty machete, panga. And they say that is what he was using to kill these women. Now, he's taken to court, he takes plea, and he takes a plea of not guilty. Then they say, okay, let's remand him. Actually, I don't even think he took plea. They took him and said, we need more time for investigation. And the court said, fine, we're going to give you 14 days. He's then taken to Gigiri police station. Ghafla bin Vu, our guy, disappears from Gigiri police station. And he doesn't just disappear alone. He disappears in the company of 12 other people who are Eritreans. As in, this guy, he just didn't leave alone. He left with 12 Eritreans. And how did this happen? Apparently, he was able to cut a mesh. Okay, he was able to cut a mesh at the police station. And they used that to escape, and then they were able to scale the wall. Anyway, a few days later, the then acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Masengeli, has a press conference, and this is what he says. He says, police helped 13 inmates, including Kware murder suspect, escape from custody. That was Gilbert Masengeli saying these guys didn't just escape, they were actually assisted by police officers. We don't know what has happened to those police officers. We don't know what actions have been taken against them. And that brings us to the question of, our conversation today. We have laws in Kenya that protect women, that protect men and women actually, from gender-based violence, because now we know that gender-based violence is not always, one gender specific. There are men who are also undergoing gender-based violence. But if a suspect can be taken to a police station and the police help him escape, and we actually, as of now, we do not know whether any actions have been taken against those police officers, how safe really can you feel in this country? How safe can you say that as a woman, for instance, I am safe and I know that if anything happens to me, I can go to the police and the issue will be resolved? Now, once again, I urge you to listen to the Saturday show, because I had Paulina Kinyi on this show. And Paulina Kinyi is a victim of gender-based violence. And she runs a center in Kibera that looks at, has girls and women who have been victims of sexual and gender-based violence, and she puts them in a safe house. And one of the things that became very clear in our discussion was that a lot of women in Kenya do not feel that taking up a matter legally is going to have any impact or any proper response, or it will help them in any way. All right? Many women are happy to just, not even happy, maybe perhaps happy is the wrong word to use, but many women have lost confidence in our police force and in their ability to actually deal with issues and to apprehend suspects and to deal with them. And they just say, okay, I am not interested in following up that matter because I know that nothing will ever happen. Ladies and gentlemen, how safe are you in this country? That in the event that something happens to you, how safe are you? And in knowing that the police are actually able to deal with that matter. So this is what we're going to do. Let's say today you're a victim of gender-based violence. What are the steps that you need to take? We're going to be talking about that, and we're going to look at it in two ways. Number one, you have physical violence. Number two, you have sexual violence. And number three, we'll talk about the sort of violence that is neither physical nor sexual, but could be termed as harassment. What do you do when someone is harassing you, or you have a stalker or such things? Because that's also a form of violence. What are some of the ways that the law has provided solutions for you to be able to get protection under Kenyan laws? Tuko pamoja. But of course, the police continue to look for Mr. Collins Jumaisi, the man who killed so many women, and he can never be traced together with his Eritreans. And who knows, maybe he's in Eritrea now, or he's followed the Eritreans to where they've gone. Yeah, but that's the story. So when you come back, what happens if you are a victim of violence? What are some of the steps you need to take? Because remember, part of what we do in this show is to tell you what the law actually provides, the steps that you need to take so that your issues are dealt with and handled in a manner that is consistent with the laws of the Republic of Kenya. But for now, let's get some music. Let's go.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
This is Hendrix Sam.
Who knew that I'd be standing right here with you? Who knew
that I'll be doing this life with you? Who knew?
Cause we are complicated kama hesabu, maswali mengi bila jawabu. I be thinking and I got no clue. I'm trying to see it from your point of view.
And when the world around me don't make sense, you put your hands around me like a necklace. I put nobody over you. I give you me, you give me all of you.
I choose you. I don't ever want to lose you. Can't imagine if you walk away. Don't ever walk away. Don't walk away, my love.
And I choose you. I don't ever want to lose you. Can't imagine if you walk away. Don't ever walk away. Don't walk away, my love. My love.
Time on the clock, it's ticking and turning. If you got it on lock, then we don't got a reason to waste our time. No more, we gotta do this for life, for sure.
Cause you and me, we want this life. You're the reason why I shine so bright. Oh baby, you're the reason why I don't wanna be alone
Now
tonight.
that I go around and know that is love. I know I give it every single thing I can. I choose you, I don't ever wanna lose you. Can't imagine it if you walk away. Don't ever walk away, don't walk away, my love.
And I choose you, I don't ever wanna lose you. Can't imagine if you walk away. Don't ever walk away, don't walk away, my love. La la la, independent, independent, la isha penda, la la, independent. La la, independent, independent, la isha penda, la la, independent.
I choose you, I don't ever wanna lose you. Can't imagine it if you walk away. Don't ever walk away, don't walk away, my love.
And I choose you, I don't ever wanna lose you. Can't imagine if you walk away. Don't ever walk away, don't walk away, my love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the 16 days of activism and, of course, tomorrow's Femicide march that will be happening at the Nairobi CBD and also all over the country. And I just want to find out, will you be attending? Please let me know in the comment section if you will be attending the Femicide march. And, of course, if you'd like a song, request a song, I am here. Flozy is here to play that song for you and to make your life happy. But let's start by asking the question, what happens if you are a victim of gender-based violence? What are the steps you need to take? Let's start with physical violence. Now, if you have been injured physically, and this could be by someone who's close to you, or it could even just be by a stranger, no matter the circumstances, the Kenya Police Service is required to have a gender desk in all the police stations. Now, this gender desk essentially is meant to be a safe space manned by people who've been properly trained to actually handle sensitive cases. So you go there and you make a report of your case. The police are going to ask you to take out a P3 form. The purpose of the P3 form is for you to take that to the hospital for it to be filled because you've been a victim of assault. That P3 then helps the doctors in the hospital you go to look at you, okay, to be able to assess the nature of your injuries, the extent of your injuries, and to be able to give you treatment. In the event that that matter goes to court, then that doctor's report together with the P3 form will be relied on as evidence. It's always important to ensure that you visit the police station at your earliest convenience. As a matter of fact, as soon as the harm has occurred, you then go to the police station. Why is this? You know, earlier today I was in court and I just sat there listening to a case. And this guy was hit. Two men were fighting and one hits the other over the eye. And eventually what happens to the person who was hit? He doesn't go to hospital. He doesn't actually even report it. But because he was hit on his frontal cortex, okay? The frontal cortex is this area of your head where it's near the forehead, right? Because he was hit and just above the eye, he developed a clot that then caused him to start having seizures. So you can imagine a person who was just healthy and suddenly now they're experiencing seizures and they're getting sick. And they went to now report after that happened. And one of the things that the accused person was using to challenge was to say, why did this person take so long? Is it possible that he could have gotten this injury through something else? I don't know how that case will end up, but it's important for you to know that as soon as the injury has happened, you then go to the police and you make that report. You ensure that you get medical attention and you keep all the records. The beauty with a criminal trial is that it is a prosecutor who actually handles the case on your behalf as a complainant or as a victim and on behalf of the state. All right. So if that happens, your first port of call is to ensure that you go to the police station, you report it, and then you go and get medical attention. What happens in cases of sexual assault? Now, cases of sexual assault are very sensitive cases because often to prove sexual assault, the courts will rely on evidence that is of a forensic nature. All right. You'll have to talk about things like DNA. You'll have to talk about things like tears and all this. So the first thing that is recommended is that if you have been a victim of sexual assault, do not shower. All right? And if you're going to remove those clothes, you're encouraged to remove the clothes, put them in an airtight bag, and then when you report to the police station, you go with those clothes. Now, why is it advisable that you do not take a shower? Taking a shower often means that what we'll call the genetic evidence, all right, is lost because of the shower that you've taken. Soap is not good when you're talking especially on matters to do with DNA, and we need to get that from either a fluid that is on you, all right? So you take your clothes, the clothes as well, because remember, part of the evidence will be, for instance, were the clothes torn? Is there blood on the clothes? Is there any matter that was smeared on the clothes? All those are things that are going to be needed, because when the tests are done by the police, they will need to say, this, for instance, these are the pants we got. This was the fluids that were on the clothes, and we were able to test them against this person's DNA, and it was a match. So if the idea is to catch that person and to actually make sure that they pay for what they've done, then that evidence is very critical, and it is needed. It is very, very necessary. And of course, you also still go to the gender desk, because the gender desk that is manned there. And one of the things I have to say is I have had, even as a lawyer in my line of work, I've had a lot of complaints from women who say that they've gone to the gender desk, and you find that some of the police there can be, very uncultured, and they can start asking you some questions that, in essence, are taking the victim through more trauma instead of actually helping them to resolve the issues that, they've gone through, or to just help them. Now, remember as well that at the police station, you're also going to be given a form that you have to take to the hospital, because the hospital has to give a medical assessment. All those samples need to be taken from you. And in cases, for instance, in cases of rape, it will always be, more often than not, you'll find that the victim has experienced some tears, especially because of the resistance. And because rape by itself, the non-consensual nature of it and the brutalizing effect of that crime often means that the victim is not primed for intercourse. And so there are tears and the injuries that happen. All that is required, especially when there's a case to be made out against an individual. And I came across a very, very sad story. I was reading Biko Zulu. I think he had posted something on Instagram. And this lady says that she was raped. She was able to identify the rapist, and she went to the police, and they did a lineup, and she was told to go and identify the person who did it. She identified him the first time. Then the police said, no, you've made a mistake. Then she was told to come again and identify the same person. She came again and did it, and they still refused. And she would walk in the estate and still see the same guy. And eventually she says, I just gave up on actually trying to pursue that matter. The police have also been used to actually try and frustrate victims of violence. And we're going to be talking about some of the organizations that, as a person, you can actually reach out to help you in cases like this, because we also know that our police service is not always a service. Most of the time, they are also in cahoots with those who are breaking the law and seek to protect the perpetrators instead of the victims. So all this, in terms of evidence, the court requires to see medical evidence that it can use also as a look at evidence of the actual crime being committed. When we come back, we talk about cases of harassment. Someone is following you, someone is stalking you. How do you actually go ahead and deal with such a matter through Kenya's legal system? Let's get some music and then we come back. It's about 5:45. If you're on your way home or if you're on the road, I hope you are safe wherever you are. Remember, you can always request for a song and also let us know, as a woman or as a man, do you feel safe in Kenya? Also, will you be attending the Femicide march tomorrow? And the question, of course, on everyone's minds is, are they going to tear gas bodies?
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Our radio.
Oh, no, no, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I need a check up. Feel like I'm dreaming, need to wake up. In this economy, I choose to be with you. Ishachana na mambo za kishebedu. I'm burning up temperature. I see my mouth in my human nature. Spending all on my paper, momentum. You make me so sentimental. Give me that tender love and smile. A daily dose of your behind. My nightmares for me that you wine. Inject it to me with your love, oh yeah. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunuma. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunuma. Tati bote, chikole bote. Tabula dagala mon piso bote. Tono la mon fometa mon ma doctor. Kamata fomite daga. Episo yikwa tabulunji doctor. Shake before using it. Shake before using it dagala. Yeah. Onda zo mkwano munji. Kwa kukuko kusinga banji. Nsomo se emiga minji. Nganonya masine paseidi. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunoma. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunoma. Kuna dawa, you're the one, and I want to thank you daily. Unaniponyanga baby. First time I met you, girl. Tulikutana, nilijua wendo mpenzi wangu ma. Give me that tender love and smile. A daily dose of your behind. My nightmares for me that you want. Inject it to me with your love, oh yeah. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunuma. Hakuna dawa, baby you're the only one dawa. Hakuna dawa, utali moyo gunuma. I need a check up. Feel like I'm dreaming, need to wake up. In this economy, I choose to be with you. Ishachana na mambo za kishebedu. Bote, chikole bote. Tabula dagala mon piso bote. Tono la mon fometa mon ma doctor. Kamata fomite daga. Oh no, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That song feels like the East African community, but without all the nasty presidents, Yes. Anyone you can think of is in there, including Bian. Fantastic song. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about stalking, how do you actually deal? Someone is stalking you, someone is harassing you online. Now, there's what we call the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. And this law is actually used by police to prosecute bloggers who say bad things about, politicians. But the idea behind that law is to go after people who make it, their life mission to frustrate you online, to talk badly about you, to malign you. That's what that law is meant to address and to deal with, all right? And so that is one way of dealing with it, through the criminal system, and you just need to take the evidence there. One of the things also that happens in Kenya a lot is revenge porn. Revenge porn is actually a form of violence. How do you deal with cases of revenge porn? We have probably someone's asking, what is revenge porn? Now, when you're in love with someone, there are many things that you do together. And you never imagine that this person could also be the source of your pain and heartache. And so sometimes you'll find that people will say, okay, let me send you some videos or photos of myself, what we call raunchy photos, where you are minus clothes, all right? Then there are people who, once you break up, or if you tell them now it's over, they decide to leak those. That is called revenge porn. And a lot of Kenya is actually notorious for this. Kenya is one of the countries in the world that is very notorious for this, including Uganda and Nigeria. And this has also been noted even in the United States and in the UK. But in those countries, they're actually taking very firm steps against it. So what happens in such cases, or where maybe someone photoshops you, they photoshop you onto someone's body and then they post it online. How do you deal with that? And I remember I have actually come across tweets, for instance, of someone saying, hey, that is not me on the video, and I'll show you why. Oh, I don't have that tattoo, oh, this and all that. That is a criminal offense, all right? Revenge porn is a criminal offense. And one of the things you need to do is to report to the police station, and that matter is actually handled by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, the DCI, okay? Now, once the DCI has the matter, they will then be able to investigate who or what was the source, who actually leaked those images or those videos, or who was manufacturing that fake content in the event that it is fake. And of course, people think that you can just do things and then post them online and you can't find them. But there's something called metadata. And metadata can show you which device created this, what time was it created, what amendments or what changes were made to the document, all those things. The metadata can actually be able to reveal each of those things to you. All right. But on the other hand, you could also pursue that matter through the civil system, where you actually go and get a court order. You can get a restraining order. And basically, court orders cannot be disobeyed. If they're disobeyed, then that person can be arrested by the police, because that amounts to contempt of court. So you can get a court order restraining someone from following you or from being within your vicinity. Now, restraining orders have worked very well in countries like the United States, where you have a proper police force, and there are people who you can tell to come and enforce in the event that someone is violating those orders. In Kenya, my experience has been that Kenya police do not actually take matters of restraining orders very seriously. And you'll find someone says, oh, this person was told not to contact me. They've even come to my office. They've come to my house and all these things. And unfortunately, because we do not take those things as seriously as we need to, what then happens is you will find that that failure will often result in a bigger crime. Where you would have been dealing with stalking, you now find yourself dealing with a case of murder. So it's very important to take these matters seriously, especially because they relate to people's safety and security, all right? Safety and security is a guarantee under the Constitution of Kenya. So that's how you deal with the different forms of violence. The law actually provides you with avenues to deal with the matter, both through the criminal justice system and also through the civil system. And remember, in the criminal justice system, the idea is for people to be found culpable or guilty, and then they are taken to jail. The civil system works on, it's a matter of damages and compensation. All right, if someone has been found guilty, or if the court says, yes, this person has proved that this happened to them, then you have to compensate them and pay them a certain amount of money. And one of the interesting things I need to tell you is that we had a case in court where someone said, I killed so-and-so, that's fine. But then the elders met and we decided we are going to give some boozies and everything just to forget that story. And the High Court says, yes, that can happen. So someone else went to court and said, I defiled a child. And we've agreed with the parents that that matter can be dealt with out of court. Should that be allowed? And the courts in Kenya have held that in questions of defilement, in questions of rape, sexual offenses should not be dealt with out of court, because many people will actually withdraw such matters from court based on threats, based on perhaps intimidation, or even money has changed hands, and that should not actually be the case. So for sexual offenses, they cannot be dealt with out of court. That is a matter that the court must deal with all the way to the very, very end. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still looking out to see if we have any questions on this, and we'd like to just respond to that. We are almost done. We have 5 minutes for the end of this show. So we're going to get one song, and then when we come back, we can wrap it up as we gear up for tomorrow's Femicide protest, anti-femicide, the Stop Femicide protest that is happening tomorrow. And will they tear gas bodies? We shall know tomorrow.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Nabia tuena sio wewe naki kufia tuena sio maretia do tututine tuero maraina o pointine decimo akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga kaudunga forex kushika na frada akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga vibombastic yuko na attractor Balenciaga dubi na kinyasa Balenciaga bilo na kinyash
Mbogi dinare tunagodha niko matus kafundi leo mtachoka hizi mafore inabidi unarudi ocha madam vibes leo kichizi ndio kupona hata kifling anataka tu my candy girl ana swap and switch kama Candy Crush she a bombshell ting hey mambo sweetheart na akidai candy lazima atida hapa ma brown ni mbwex kama za ID ndio tumeslide kukaza isaidi hizi stance makangedhe wana cop balance na sample mali safi kama lecturer bei ni gushi kama ni Prada mimi napenda akibalance haga India wana inataka toto akidai heka nyawi napata ngoto
akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga kaudunga forex kushika na frada akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga vibombastic yuko na attractor Balenciaga dubi na kinyasa Balenciaga gwilo na kinyash
bukla ya nini kejenyewe kilabu bukdha ya nini mindo mwenye kilabu cheki boo spendi riba za udu lifestyle slap kabienchi kitu muku chuki nipate sako na kamu judhi usenge niko mchanganyiko nikiwa riko kwa bei na fudhi kokoriko bandal na dunga kakidungi freshi mabidhaa na siza juzi kasi minji stone chuzi tukiloka na tiktoka komiti
akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga kaudunga forex kushika na frada akipita wezi mhata kama lisafi Balenciaga na mimi napenda akibalanceaga vibombastic yuko na attractor Balenciaga dubi na kinyasa Balenciaga gwilo na kinyash
Walai akajai na isivi mtu yangu mambo vulai dubi na kinyasa balance watuko gwilo na kinyash.
Yes. We've almost come to the end of the show, and I want to bring this public service announcement to you. I'm looking at WaNjeri Wamigu's ex-profile, and she says, county locations for the protest that is happening tomorrow with Rage and Love for our lives and our existence. We march for ourselves, for our lives, for our future. So if you're in any of these places, this will be the meeting points. Nandi, Kapsabet Town, Kisii, County Commissioner's Grounds, Kakamega Youth Empowerment Center, Siaya, Jaramogi Oginga University, Kajiado, Saitoti, Naivasha, DCC Grounds, Nyeri, YMCA, Busia, imeandikwa Busia. Eldoret, Zion Mall, Muranga, Ihura Stadium, Kericho, Moi Gardens, Kilifi, Mkoroshoni, Nanyuki, Central Park, Migori, Sori, Nakuru, Railways, Marsabit, Elgeyo Marakwet at Manasha Roundabout, Taita Taveta, the Stadium to Voi Town Hall, Kiambu at the Governor's Office, Kisumu, Kondele, Bungoma, Marel Roundabout, Turkana Islamic Center, Mombasa at Pembe Zandovu, Nakuru at Railways, Kwale at Masai Ground, and finally Nairobi at WaNjeri. So tomorrow, WaNjeri at 10 a.m. for those who will be in Nairobi, and for those who will be in other parts of the country as well, the places I've mentioned at 10 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's next start to end this show, but of course, all good things must come to an end. But remember, I'll be right here on Saturday between 1 and 3 p.m. as we talk more law and as we come to the end of the year. What are some of the highlights for the end of the year, as we come to the end of the year for you? Let me know in the comment section as well. But also, you can reach out to us on the socials. If there's something you'd like to hear us discuss or talk about, or perhaps you have a question about something, we can do that. And you know what? I'm thinking, Flozy, this coming Saturday, the show is going to be just about taking your questions. So if you have any questions, urushe hiyo swali hapo na tutajibu. I will respond to all the questions that you want to raise that are related to legal issues. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely rest of the week. Please take care of yourselves, because remember, we need you. We are in this together. Hadi mwisho.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Tunapita kama moshi na kabla tuzame mchangani, kuna kushinda na kufeli. Inabidi ujijue tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji. Oh, it's unbelievable that we make it this far. Undeniable, we see the promised land from afar, and it's so beautiful. No, they can't touch the fire, and you know it's not in vain. Steady tripping through the pain. Oh, steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight Zion, on the midnight Zion, Zion.
Siku zazidi badilika, mengi yazidi kunipita jama. Oh no, maji yalipozidi unga, hawakudhani tutafika. It's unbelievable that we made it this far. Undeniable to see the promised land from afar. So beautiful, they gon' know who we are. They keep on walking in the rain. Kuna blessings in the pain. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady, ready, ready, ready. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, Zion. It's on our road to Zion. Nothing will ever deny us. Whatever it takes, keep on rocking. Whatever it takes, keep on moving. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.